Okay, so if you have no doubts, we'll continue. So today we'll slowly start moving into machine learning. We have read quite a bit of statistics now. We understand different distributions, maximum likelihood functions, and how to fit the maximum likelihood for a particular set of measurements. And what is the benefit of that? We also know about Bayes theorem and how to apply Bayesian statistics to predict the future or change the hypothesis as and when new evidences come into our way. So now, with all that knowledge, we'll slowly move into linear regression. So this linear regression is the entry of machine learning. Uh, so machine learning is a collective set of algorithms which are based on mathematics, not deep learning. Okay.
This somebody is asking for a link, a meeting they want to join. Yeah, in
Oh,
WhatsApp.
okay. So linear regression, machine learning is a set of algorithms, mostly statistical and mathematical, uh, which uh, which solves our problems like classification, clustering, regression, this kind of problems. So they don't use neural networks. So that's why they are not classified as deep learning. Rather, they are classified as machine learning. So we are entering into machine learning domain now. Uh, so this is the first chapter for machine learning, which is linear regression. Then there will be logistic regression and other types of regressions, support vector machines, decision trees, ensemble of models, a lot of so many concepts are there. Okay, so we can go in slowly there. So what happens here is that so in case of our statistics also we saw that we had a training data. Okay, so training data is always there. So these are all supervised learning. So training data is always there. That what is training data basically? Training data is nothing but a set of measurements that has been done by XYZ source, right? So if you are say in the lab, it's a biology lab, you are having a lot of mouse, right? So you do a lot of tests on mice. Uh, so you are calculating the length and weight weight of mouses, right? So and this data is what? So if I plot like this, if I make a table, then I will have weight and say body length, and then I will have different values here. So this is my training data. This is called my training data, a set of measurements taken by a source, which will be used to uh, infer something important. So that is what. So now what I do is I want to see whether uh, can I infer the body length of a mouse from its weight. Is there any relationship between body length of a mouse and its weight? So suppose these are the points, these are the various points that came across when I plotted. when I plotted my training data on the curve. This is scatter plot, right? So X value and Y value I plotted. Now, so the sole purpose of machine learning, be it deep learning or machine learning or statistical modeling or whatever, is always trying to fit the data to a known entity, right? So earlier, what we did, we were trying to fit the measurements to a known distribution so that we can predict. Here also, similar thing we will do, but here the distribution shape is linear, right? So you can see that here is a sorry, here is a linear, the data is distributed. Maybe there is a width, in this linearness, which is not an absolute straight line, but it is linear in nature, means it is constantly growing. Uh, one or two outliers can be there, like one can be here, one can be here, like this. One or two outliers can be there, but most of the data is falling under this band of data, right? So this gives a linear shape to my data. So now what becomes important here is that, like I was doing in case of statistical modeling, I was trying to find the best fit curve or distribution, like Poisson distribution or Gaussian distribution or exponential distribution for a particular set of measurements. Here, since I am getting a hunch of feeling that this is a linear distribution of data, so can I get a line which best fits this particular distribution? Okay, right? Like uh, what do I mean by that, this statement? Let's start with a line which is horizontal to the x-axis, okay, to the weight axis. Okay, let's say that this is a line which explains, mark the term explains, this will be used many times. This is a line which explains these dots. Okay, this is a line which explains these dots. Now that means what? In future, with the help of this line, can I predict one of these dots? And if I can predict, then with how much confidence can I predict? Okay, so this is what I want to know, that how well this line explains the sample data, training data, and how confident I will be in predicting a value in the future using this line. Okay, so one way to know this is very simple, that at weight x1, okay, at weight x1, the actual value was y1, actually in the table. Okay, in the table measurement, x1 had a value y1. That's why this red point was lit, right? This red point. That's why this red point was there. But as per the line that I have drawn, this is the value of y1 dash, right? So this is the value of y1 which will come for x1. That means there is some error in my measurement. And how much is that error? How much is that error? That error is nothing but y1 dash minus y1. Very simple, right? I calculate the length of this one. This is much error I have for only 1 point. Okay, for only 1 point I have this much error. Now what will happen is, since y1 is bigger than y1, y1 dash is bigger than y1, so all the errors below this line will be positive. But when this is say xn and this is yn and this is yn dash, so what will happen? All the points above the line, this line, will be having negative errors. Right? See, because we are subtracting y dash from y. Now here in this point, y dash is less than y, so it will be negative. So how to then what will happen? There is a chance that my negative errors will cancel out my positive errors, and I will not know my exact error actually, how much it happened. I will have a miscalculation just because there is a lot of error, but because of the negative and positive sign, they cancel out each other, and I get a very small error. That may happen. So how to avoid that? That avoiding it is by taking the square of this value. Okay, if I take the square of this value, then negative into negative is positive, positive into positive is positive, right? So that means I can continue like this: y2 dash minus y2 square plus, in the same way we will continue for all the points in the training data set. So this is my total error, and this is, there is a name for this equation. It's called sum of squared residuals. So that means what? This is a residual. Okay. So this is a residual. Okay. Sum of squared residuals. So each residual, first square it, then sum it. That is the total error of your line. This line will have this much error. Okay. Now what I have to do is, if I take this line, I will see that I will have very big errors. Okay, see how much big errors are there. Each point will have enough errors. Okay, from both sides, top, bottom. And when I'm squaring and adding them, it will become too much big. So what can I do? One way is I will change this line, and if I, instead of taking a horizontal line, if I take a little tilted line like this, right? First I took this horizontal line with x-axis. Now I have taken a little tilted line. Now if I calculate the errors with the same procedure, it will be little less, because my line is becoming aligned or getting parallel with my distribution. This is this yellow band is the distribution, right? So as my line is turning, rotating, it is becoming more aligned with the distributed points. And that means when it is becoming more aligned with the distributed points, that means the sum of residual squares will be lesser and lesser. Similarly, if I have a line like this, and this line will have the best, may have the best least sum of squared residuals, then but after a certain point, if I keep on rotating, the error will again increase. This error was more, this one was less, this one again become more, right? And similarly, when this line will become like this, the error will be again more. So if I plot different lines, suppose this line, this line, this line, this line, this line, okay, and calculate the total sum of squared residuals, then this will follow something like this. First will be here, then will be here, then will be here, then will be here, then will be here. Okay. So that means when I'm taking horizontal line, my error is too high. But as I start tilting it, the error reduces. I tilt it little more, it becomes more aligned with the line, the error reduces further down. But if I keep on tilting it, then again the error increases. So there is a sweet spot which we need to find. This is that sweet spot. If I can find this spot, then I can find the line. And then I can say that this is my best fit line for the given distribution. Okay. So my target is to find this sweet spot. Okay. How can I find the sweet spot? How? Any ideas? If you see, the lowest point of a sum of squared errors plot will have a slope of 0, right? Here the slope is this, here the slope is this, but here the slope is parallel to the x-axis, that is 0, and that is the lowest point, because every time whatever you do, the lowest point will have a slope of 0. Okay, so that means y equals to ax1 plus minus y1 square plus dot 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 x n plus b minus y n square. Assuming that my line equation is y is equal to a x plus b. Why your mx plus c? That is the line. I instead of a mx, m and c, I took ab. That's it. So assuming this is my sweet line, sweet spot line, assuming this is my sweet spot line, then that sweet spot line, what will be the sum of the residuals sum of the residual error square? This will be that value, and this graphs slope should be equal to what? Should be equal to 0. Now, with respect to what should I differentiate this? With respect to what should I differentiate this? Can anybody say?
X.
No. X1, xn are all constant values. parameter is A and B here. I am trying to discover the values of A and B. If I get A and B, then only I'll get the line equation, right? So first, differentiate with respect to A, keeping B constant. Then differentiate with respect to B, keeping A as constant. And this one equals to 0. And this one equals to 0. When you solve these two equations, you will get the value of A and B. And from there, you will get your sweet spot line. So now if you intuitively think about this problem, so this is like this. Imagine a 3D space, okay? In a 3D space, this is the slope. This is the y-intercept, mx plus c. In mx plus c, c is the y-intercept and m is the slope. And this is the sum of squared errors. Okay. So what will happen? So we are for a selected c, keeping c constant. When I'm keeping c constant, that means what? I am drawing a plane. When I'm keeping c constant, that means I am making a plane, right? Here, this c is equal to some value, say 2. This is 2, say. So, right? This is a plane with c is equal to 2. In this plane, by changing m slope from left to right, by tilting the line, I will get a slope, right? Again, I will change another one, c. That will be another one, plane. And in that plane, there will be another one, slope, right? So out of, there will be for each c, there will be a new graph. So there will be n number of c's. Out of those n number of c's, n number of graphs, whichever is having the lowest value, that will be the best fit line. And that is what we will find by solving these two equations, right? Solve for A, keeping B constant, solve for B, keeping A constant. Okay. I just, instead of A, B, I can write here M and C. Okay. Don't get confused. In place of B, you can write C. C you can write. In place of A, you can write M. And here you can write C. You can write here M. Okay. So if you solve this, then I showed this one for intuition. You have to think in mind, because there are two parameters, right? Slope and y-intercept. So to come to a conclusion, which one is the best line, I have to change both of them together and find the best one, right? So that is what I do here. When I take c as constant and differentiate with respect to m, this is what I am doing in a plane, right? And when I'm keeping m constant and differentiating with respect to c, this is when I'm moving around this side with different planes, right? So one movement like this, one movement like this, and multiple graphs will be created, out of which whichever is the lowest one, that one we will be selecting. This one, this one, whatever C value it has and whatever M value it has, it will be replaced in the equation. Okay. So then your equation will become like this, something like y is equal to 2x plus 3, right? So the slope M is 2 and C is 3. Okay, like this will get. Okay. Okay, so this is the main idea behind the sum of residuals, sum of squared residuals. Okay, get it out, ask me, else we'll move to the next concept. So this is how we fit a line to a set of data points. Okay, so when I solve this, I get the line. Once I get the line, I can do so many things with it. I can predict future, right? I can see how much accurate, means suppose I have only data until 2021, but I want to know the trend of, say there is a stock price, right? There is a stock price and the price of the stock price is like, I have data only until 2021. But if I can find the best fit line, the linear regression, first foremost thing is that I have to see and confirm that the data distribution is linear in nature. Okay, if I plot the data and the data looks like this, then I cannot apply linear regression. Okay, then I cannot apply linear regression, because then it is not a straight line. I cannot fit a straight line to this type of distribution. So first and foremost, we have to plot some of the data and see that it is linear in nature. Once it is linear in nature, then we will have to fit a straight line to that distribution. Just we did like we did in case of different distributions, exponential and all these distributions. But only the difference here is that there we used one approach called maximum likelihood. Here we are using an approach called least square of residuals. Okay, that is the only difference between these two. Okay, so okay, so now we will go to another one topic called R square. Okay, so the main ideas are like use least squares to fit a line to the data, calculate R square, and then calculate p value for R square. So there are two things, R square and p value. Now what are these things? What are these things? Calculating R square is the first step in determining how good a guess will be from the best line fit. Okay, means one thing is that I have a data distribution. I tell that it is linear in nature. But and I find a best fit line also. But do you really feel this is a best fit? This is the best fit line, no doubt about it. Out of infinite number of lines, this is the best fit line. There is no doubt about it. But if you see here, the data is like this, and I am telling that this is a, so if I predict something here, is it? It may be here also, right? Because the data is so spread out. The variance of the data is so high. But in comparison to that, if my data was like this, and then I said this is the best fit line, then and the future I predict something, then it makes more sense. So what happens? First step was how to calculate the best fit line. Now, second step is what? How good is the guess from that best fit line? How good is my guess from the best fit line, right? So that is known by the R square value. Okay, the R square value tells how good is your guess from the best fit line. How to do that? Now we'll see how to calculate that step by step. Okay. So suppose we have a lab and we have many mouse and we calculated their weights, and this is how the weights are distributed. Okay, and we found a best fit line. Found a best fit line by applying whatever formula we had. Now, this was the mouse weight and this was the body length, right? Or mouse size. Now do one thing, find the average body length or the average mouse size. How do I do that? I do that by projecting each of these points on the y-axis. So if this is the point, this is its corresponding y value. This is its corresponding y value. This is its corresponding y value, right? So I project all the points on the y-axis. Okay. Now all these points have come here on the y-axis. Okay. Now the next step is calculating the average of this. Okay. So suppose there are 20 mouses, then you get their body length, project them in the y-axis. Projection on the y-axis is nothing just but the y value, right? Don't get confused. Okay, you get the y values. So sigma y value by n. This is our average of the body length. So the average size of the mouse is this, right? Now this is after projection. So suppose I projected and I have, these are the points. Okay, I projected and these are the points and this is the average. Okay, this is the average, this value. Okay, now calculate the error. So then calculate the error, sum of square residual error for this distribution only. That means this one square plus 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 this one square. Okay. So we calculate the sum of residuals, square residuals, only on the y-axis. Okay. So this is called, there is a name for this thing called SS mean. Okay, SS mean, because this is the mean. This is the mean, right? Sum of squared residuals from the, with respect to the mean, not with respect to the best fit line, with respect to the mean. Okay, remember this. Okay. And similarly, I have a SS fit. What is this? This is the sum of squared residuals for the best fit line. This one. So this is equal to this one plus 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 this one, all squared. Okay. So that means this total squared of some residuals with respect to mean, and this is sum of squared residuals with respect to fit line, the best fit line. So that's why it is called fit and this is called mean. Okay. Now, how much scattered the data is, how much variance there is in the data, if I have to know, then my simple formula is variance of mean is equal to SS of mean by n. N is the total number of points. Similarly, variance of fit is equal to SS of fit by n. Okay. So we now know SS mean, SS fit, variance mean, variance fit. Okay. Now what can we do by these things? Okay. R square formula is variance mean minus variance fit divided by variance mean. Okay. R square is defined as variance mean minus variance fit line by variance m mean. What does this mean? What is the meaning of this equation? Okay. So tell me one thing. Can variance of fit be ever larger than variance of mean? Nitesh?
No, for sure. I don't know.
Oh, okay. No, it cannot be. See, the F variance of fit means I have the best fit line. So my sum of squared errors for this line is the smallest. So this is the smallest value that I can have. Any value will be always greater than this value. Right? So this is my variance with respect to mean. And this is my variance with respect to the best fit line. So variance with respect to the best fit line is always going to be the smallest. Just see here. This is a distribution. This is a distribution. Okay. And this is the best fit line. The variance with respect to this line. Variance means how scattered are the points with respect to this line, left and right side of both of this line. And how scattered are the points with respect to this line, left and right side of this line. Obviously, this will be higher than this because this is the best fit line.
Yeah.
We made we differentiated our equation, got to the bottom of the slope so as to minimize the error, so that this is the best fit line. So this will be always the minimum value. So this value will always be positive. This numerator will always be positive. So that means what? I am subtracting some amount from the variance of mean, and then again dividing it by the variance of mean. Okay. So what does this intuitively mean? What does this intuitively mean? It means that the what is this mean? This is the y-axis. I can do the same thing on the x-axis also, by the way, but we are now considering only the y-axis, variance of mean. So in this case, I have a variance in the body size or body length of the mouse. How well can I explain that difference in body length if I include weight? This one is explaining the variance of body length when I am not considering anything. I am just going by the raw data, right? I am just getting the y values here. A mouse is there, it is 42 centimeter. A mouse is there, it is 34 centimeter. I don't know that is a fat mouse, that is a thin mouse, that is what. I'm just, somebody is telling me I got a mouse and this is this much length. Now, that one variance will be where mean. But as soon as I add the weight factor also into that accountability, that somebody is telling me now that, okay, this is the mouse, this much length, this much kgs. This is the mouse, this much length, this much grams. Then what happens? Some of that variance is getting reduced. It is subtracted from the variance of mean. Okay. So R square tells us how much of the variance in mouse size can be explained by taking mouse weight into account. If I take mouse weight into account, then only this fit line will come, right? Otherwise, it is only this line. So this is VM and this is VF. And I am subtracting VF from VM and then dividing by VM to get the percentage ratio. Otherwise, this numerator tells everything. I have a variance which is explained, which is explained by only one factor, that is the body length. I subtract another factor from it by the best fit line, and then I see how much is my variance decreased. The more my variance is decreased, the more the more I am better fit with the line, right? So in general, if R square is equal to, say, we get a value like 0.6, then we say that there is a 60% reduction in variance when we take the mouse weight into account. 60% reduction in variance means before taking the best fit line, I had 100% variance. I had raw measurements. But after taking the best fit line into consideration, if I have to quantify, now in the beginning of this I said, right, that the best fit line, how to calculate the best fit line, we know. But how good is the best fit line? How well does it quantify the data? How well does it explain the data? If that we have to know, then we have to calculate this R square value. And the higher the R square value, the better. because that much we are reducing, that much variance we are reducing. You remember always, development of models in machine learning is low variance, high bias. This is there are two keywords: low variance, high bias. Sorry, low variance, low bias. Okay. So we always go for models with low variance. Variance is high, then predictability is, uncertainty is more. So here we are trying to reduce the variance by subtracting the mean variance from the best fit line variance. Okay. Now you see how it will be so easily understandable. If I have my data plotted like this, such that the best fit line is a straight line covering all the lines, all the dots. Okay, means all the dots are on the best fit line. All the dots are on the best fit line. Then who can tell me what will be the value of R square?
It would be 1.
Right, it will be 100%. That means my best fit line reduced the variance of the mean by 100%. Means I have accurate data now. Means I can rely on this best fit line 100%. But on the contrary, if I have a line which is parallel, which is the same as the line as VM, the same line. If V fit is also equal to VM, then what is the value of R square?
It will be 0.
0%. That means if my best fit line is a line parallel or coinciding with the mean VM, V variation of mean, then I am not reducing any variance from the data. Whatever was there remains. Okay, so our target will always be to increase the value of R square. The better, the more the value of R square, the better. Okay, so this is about R square. Now we have one more concept called p-value. So p-value is a way to determine if the R square value is statistically significant. Statistically significant is a different domain which needs some more introduction and more explanation. So we will continue with p-value the next class on Wednesday. But did you guys understand this class? Any doubts, anybody?
Got it, Isha.
Deepika, Siddharth, Imran.
Yeah, and
Okay. Good. So keep revising, keep writing notes. Don't lose touch. Then you will be always on the top of the class. So there will be no problem. It will be very easy. But if you pile up your homework and tasks, it will be problematic. Okay. Let's meet on Wednesday then. Thank you.
thank you.